Welcome. What you are about to watch is not science fiction, and it is not folklore. It is a serious investigation into one of history's most compelling unresolved questions. The mystery of Enceladus. Saturn's moon may be the best bet for life. Across the world, in universities, research institutes, and field excavations, serious scholars are wrestling with evidence that does not fit the accepted story. Evidence that has been documented, measured, and peer-reviewed, and that still has no satisfying conventional explanation. We are going to look at that evidence carefully, without prejudice in either direction, not dismissing what is extraordinary, but not accepting it without scrutiny either. The truth, as always, is in the details. Among the hundreds of moons in our solar system, one has become the focus of intense scientific attention as a candidate for extraterrestrial life. Not because it has a comfortable temperature or a breathable atmosphere. At the surface of Enceladus, Saturn's sixth largest moon, the temperature is -201 Celsius. But because Enceladus is actively venting the interior of a subsurface ocean into space, an ocean of liquid water that contains hydrogen, carbon dioxide, and complex organic molecules, erupting through cracks in the south polar ice in geysers that reach hundreds of kilometers into space. Cassini flew through these geysers and tasted their contents. What it found has made Enceladus one of the most exciting targets in the search for life in our solar system. This is where our investigation begins. Stay with us, because the further we go into the evidence, the more extraordinary it becomes. The story you think you know is only the surface. Beneath it lies something far more remarkable. Let us begin. Before we examine the specific evidence, we need to step back and understand the context. This case does not exist in isolation. It sits within the expanding frontier of unexplained cosmic phenomena, and to properly evaluate what we are looking at, we need to understand the broader picture that surrounds it. Space is not quiet. The universe is filled with electromagnetic signals, from the cosmic microwave background radiation left over from the Big Bang to the steady roar of stellar activity at every wavelength of the electromagnetic spectrum. Against this noise, radio astronomers look for something specific, signals that are narrowband, repeating, and structured, the signatures of intelligence rather than nature. Natural processes tend to produce broadband emissions spread across many frequencies. A narrowband signal at a single precise frequency suggests something deliberately tuned, and deliberate tuning implies a tuner. The search for such signals has been ongoing since 1960, when Frank Drake pointed a radio telescope at two nearby stars and listened. In the 60-plus years since, the instrumentation has grown enormously in sensitivity, and the sky survey coverage has expanded from a handful of stars to millions. The verdict, so far, is ambiguous. No confirmed, repeating signal from an extraterrestrial intelligence has been received. But several anomalous signals have been detected, investigated, and not definitively explained, including at least one that, had it been received today, would meet every criterion the scientific community had previously agreed would constitute first contact. The silence of the cosmos is not total, it is merely inscrutable. This context matters because it tells us something important. What we are about to investigate is not an isolated curiosity. It is part of a pattern that researchers in multiple fields have been independently documenting for decades. And patterns in science demand explanation. With that foundation in place, let us now turn to the specific case at hand. Now we reach the heart of the matter, the core evidence surrounding Enceladus. Saturn's moon may be the best bet for life is more extensive, more verified, and more troubling for conventional explanations than most people realize. Let us walk through it systematically, fact by fact, and allow the evidence to speak for itself. We are not going to speculate here. Every point that follows is documented in peer-reviewed publications, official archaeological records, or government archives that are publicly accessible. The question is not whether these facts are real. The question is what they mean. Consider this first extraordinary detail. Enceladus is a small moon, approximately 500 kilometers in diameter, that orbits Saturn at a distance of approximately 238,000 kilometers. Despite its small size and extreme cold, Cassini discovered that it has an active south polar region where water vapor and ice particles erupt from a system of tiger-stripe cracks in a continuous plume reaching into space. This single data point, if taken in isolation, might be set aside. Anomalies happen, instruments malfunction, researchers make mistakes. But as we continue, you will see that this is not an isolated anomaly. It is part of a consistent and documented pattern. But that is only the beginning. Researchers also discovered Cassini flew through the Enceladus plume multiple times and sampled its contents. The ion and neutral mass spectrometer detected water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, hydrogen, and simple organic compounds. A 2017 analysis detected molecular hydrogen, H2, at concentrations suggesting it was being produced by hydrothermal reactions between water and rock at the seafloor of Enceladus's subsurface ocean. Now, a skeptic might propose an alternative explanation for this. And that is entirely reasonable. We should always test alternative explanations before accepting extraordinary ones. The problem is that the alternative explanations, when examined carefully, create more problems than they solve. The mystery deepens when we examine molecular hydrogen produced by hydrothermal rock-water reactions is significant for astrobiology because it is a potential energy source for microbial life. On Earth, hydrothermal vents on the ocean floor support ecosystems of chemolithotrophic organisms that live entirely on the chemical energy of hydrogen oxidation. The conditions at Enceladus's seafloor may be analogous. This is where the conventional account begins to strain. Each individual fact might be dismissed or minimized in isolation, but the cumulative weight of the evidence is another matter entirely. Perhaps most remarkable of all, Cassini's gravity measurements confirmed that Enceladus has a global subsurface ocean, not just a localized liquid region at the South Pole. The ocean is beneath an ice shell approximately 20-25 kilometers thick globally and thinner at the South Pole, where the tiger stripes are located. Researchers who have examined this evidence have described it as genuinely difficult to explain within the accepted framework. These are not fringe commentators. They are credentialed academics publishing in mainstream journals, raising questions that the field has not yet satisfactorily answered. Then there is the matter of a 2023 paper reported the detection of phosphates in the Enceladus plume material by the Cassini INAMS instrument, making Enceladus the only ocean world other than Earth where all 6 CH-NOPS elements, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, sulfur, essential for life as we know it have been detected. What makes this particularly significant is its independence from the previous points. This is not a case of one theory requiring another. These are separate lines of evidence converging on the same uncomfortable conclusion. Adding to the enigma is this finding. The energy driving Enceladus's activity is tidal heating. The gravitational interaction between Enceladus, Saturn, and another moon, Dione, periodically deforms Enceladus's interior, generating heat through friction. This tidal heating is what keeps the interior ocean liquid despite the extreme cold. Taken together, these facts form a pattern that cannot be explained by coincidence, misidentification, or methodological error. Each piece of evidence has been examined by skeptics. Each has been subjected to alternative explanations. And in each case, the alternative explanation falls short of accounting for everything that has been documented. We are left with a body of evidence that demands explanation and an accepted narrative that does not provide one. This is where serious inquiry begins. Now that we have established the evidence, we need to examine the theories that researchers have proposed to explain Enceladus. Saturn's moon may be the best bet for life. This is where the debate becomes most intense, because the theories reflect not just different interpretations of the same evidence, but fundamentally different assumptions about what is possible and what the past looked like. Understanding these theories is not just an academic exercise. Each one has been championed by serious researchers with genuine credentials, and each one captures something that the others miss. The truth, if it is ever established, will likely draw on elements of several. The first major explanation proposed by researchers holds that Enceladus's subsurface ocean is a habitable environment for microbial life, possibly similar to the hydrothermal vent ecosystems on Earth's ocean floor. The detected hydrogen, organic compounds, and now phosphate provide potential energy sources and raw materials. Whether life has actually arisen is unknown. This interpretation has significant academic support and is backed by substantial evidence, but it is not without problems. Critics point out that it requires assumptions that go beyond what the evidence strictly supports, and that key predictions of this theory have not been confirmed by subsequent research. It remains contested, and the contest is productive. A rival school of thought argues that Enceladus is habitable but lifeless. Its ocean provides the right conditions for life, but the transition from chemistry to biology has not occurred there. This would make it an extraordinary laboratory for studying probiotic chemistry. This theory is controversial, and deliberately so. Its proponents argue that the evidence demands an explanation outside the conventional framework. Critics counter that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and that the evidence presented, while suggestive, does not yet meet that standard. The debate continues in peer-reviewed literature. Perhaps the most unconventional theory suggests that life on Enceladus, if it exists, might be detectable in the plume material already sampled by Cassini, and a dedicated mission could identify biosignatures by flying through the plume with more sensitive instruments than Cassini carried. What is striking about this debate is not merely that experts disagree. That is normal and healthy in science. What is striking is the quality of the disagreement. Serious researchers, working from the same body of evidence, reaching genuinely different conclusions. That level of fundamental disagreement, when it persists over decades, is a signal that something important has not yet been understood. The question is not which of these theories is right. The question is whether any of them is right, or whether the truth is something that none of the current frameworks has yet been able to capture. The case surrounding Enceladus, Saturn's moon may be the best bet for life, does not rest on speculation alone. What distinguishes this investigation from pure mythology is the existence of documented, physical, verifiable evidence, material that has been examined by credentialed researchers and whose authenticity is not seriously disputed. What is disputed is its interpretation. Let us review the most significant documented evidence as objectively as possible. We are not going to cherry-pick the data that supports a preferred conclusion. We are going to lay out what exists and let you draw your own assessment. Physical evidence supporting this account includes the detection of molecular hydrogen at concentrations suggesting active hydrothermal production is the most significant astrobiology finding from Cassini. It suggests ongoing water-rock interaction at the seafloor, providing a chemically rich environment. This evidence has been subjected to independent verification. Skeptics have examined it. Alternative explanations have been proposed and tested. The data remains. The question of what it means remains open. Investigators have documented. The 2023 report of phosphate detection completes the inventory of all 6 CH-NOPS elements in the plume, confirming that the basic elemental requirements for Earth-like biochemistry are present. This evidence has been subjected to independent verification. Skeptics have examined it. Alternative explanations have been proposed and tested. The data remains. The question of what it means remains open. On-site analysis revealed the global subsurface ocean, confirmed by gravity measurements, provides a stable liquid water environment that has likely persisted for millions of years, enough time for chemistry to potentially achieve biology. This evidence has been subjected to independent verification. Skeptics have examined it. Alternative explanations have been proposed and tested. The data remains. The question of what it means remains open. Each individual piece of evidence might, in principle, be explained away. A single anomalous artifact might be misidentified. A single anomalous date might reflect contamination. A single anomalous eyewitness account might reflect misperception. The question is whether all of the evidence can be explained away, and whether the explanations required are more or less plausible than the evidence itself. When multiple independent lines of inquiry converge on the same conclusion, that convergence is the most powerful signal in empirical science. And that is exactly what we are seeing here. We have examined the history, the evidence, and the theories surrounding Enceladus. Saturn's moon may be the best bet for life. Now we need to ask the question that is sometimes overlooked in discussions of ancient mysteries. Why does this matter? What does it mean for us today? It would be easy to file this away as an interesting historical curiosity, a puzzle from a distant past with no bearing on our present lives. That would be a fundamental mistake. The questions raised by this case touch on issues that are directly relevant to who we are, where we came from, and what the human story actually looks like before the period covered by conventional history. NASA mission prioritization process has identified Enceladus as a top priority for future exploration. Proposals for an Enceladus orbiter/lander or a plume flyby mission optimized for life detection are under active development. A mission to Enceladus to directly sample its plume with astrobiologically sensitive instruments could provide evidence of life or its absence without needing to penetrate the ice shell. Of all the places in our solar system where life might exist, Enceladus may be the most accessible. Furthermore, the tools available to investigate these questions are advancing rapidly. Satellite imaging, ground-penetrating radar, ancient DNA analysis, isotopic tracing, and deep-sea sonar are all providing capabilities that previous generations of researchers could only dream of. Cases that were genuinely unresolvable 10 years ago are now open to new analysis, and the findings, consistently, are expanding rather than contracting the mystery. The investigation continues. New discoveries are being made. New analyses are being published. New voices are entering the conversation from disciplines that were not previously part of the discussion. The answers, when they come, and they will come, will not merely solve a historical puzzle. They will force a fundamental revision of assumptions that underpin our entire understanding of human history and human potential. We have now walked through the complete case of Enceladus. Saturn's moon may be the best bet for life, from the historical record through the physical evidence. Assess the competing theories and into the modern significance of what remains unresolved. What the story of Enceladus ultimately reveals is not just a historical puzzle. It is a mirror. It reflects our assumptions back at us, our assumptions about what ancient people were capable of, about how knowledge is gained and lost across the centuries, and about the relationship between what we know and what we merely think we know. The evidence presented in this documentary is real. The questions it raises are genuine. The debate among researchers is ongoing, and that is healthy. Science is not a set of conclusions. It is a process. And the process requires that we remain open to evidence that challenges what we thought we knew, however uncomfortable that challenge might be. If you came to this documentary as a skeptic, we hope the evidence gave you something to think about. If you came as a true believer, we hope the critical examination gave you a more nuanced picture. The truth, as always, lies in the evidence, not in what we want to be true. Thank you for watching. If this investigation sparked your curiosity, please subscribe to the channel. We publish new documentaries every week, covering the full range of historical mysteries that the mainstream has not yet adequately explained. Leave a comment below telling us which case you want us to investigate next. The conversation continues. The investigation never ends.